You're still watching Acfim Talks, and we are discussing the politics of coffee trade in Uganda. Who are the winners, who are the losers? And I'm still, before we took a break, we are still trying to understand where this leaves the ordinary coffee farmer. And with me, I have Dr. Ezra Nyambonera. I was supposed to have Dr. Ben Bwanika, but probably couldn't join in. Probably some other time we shall be able to host Dr. Ben, because he has passionately been at the forefront of this fight. He is opposing everything around this multi-billion dollar deal. So we hope at some point we shall be able to host him and share his perspectives. Because he thinks there's everything wrong about it. Alternatively, on the other hand, Dr. Ezra Nyambonera is, according to his submission, he thinks that there's nothing wrong with the deal. It's all about probably more information should be provided for people to understand the nitty-gritties of the deal. Doctor, it's good to have you back. Now, I have a very interesting question here, which I thought I would throw to you, because I was reading somewhere in the newspapers, I think some time back, we've seen the same company, which is a beneficiary of this concession. I think at some point it supported NRM in 2016 elections. 3 years later, we see the company being awarded the Lubowa Specialized Hospital contract. Now we see it having a very generous concession coffee deal. If I'm a Ugandan who tries to connect dots, am I wrong to suspect that this could be a quid pro quo arrangement where, okay, yes, you are an investor, but somehow you are an investor benefiting from the state, from a regime that you once supported?
You want my view?
Yes, it's just your fair view.
No, I told you I'm not a politician. I am academic, and I have concentrated on what I understand better. And I have given you what I think you need to understand. And then the political economy, politics also works with the economics. Politicians drive the economy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they're providing incentives, because that is agreed by our government policy in terms of investment promotion. So there's no controversy here. So the politics is not. I think that is also, if there were no what we call the direction from government and expectations from these investors, then we'd say it's politics. They are going to invest their money. Probably the way they get their money, how they invest it. But to me, it's more of development, investment than politics.
Okay, fair enough. And I like the fact that you called it a political economy, because either way, politics drives the economy at some point. So it's if I'm the party in power and I have ambitions, and I rely with people who will help me achieve those ambitions as a party in power. Fair enough. Our platforms are open for any questions or comments that we would be very glad for Doctor to respond to or handle. Now, speaking economics, when we look at the incentives that have been provided to the company that is a beneficiary of the deal, doesn't this somehow, well, granted that it's important to incentivize and you attract investment in the country, but aren't these incentives too much to the extent of Ugandans losing out on the taxation? Because if almost every possible tax that is applicable for now is not going to be subjected to the company, aren't we really losing out so much in terms of raising our tax base, increasing our tax base?
There are two things you must know, that when the investment strategy was and promoting of investment in the country was being crafted and formulated, the government or the policymakers looked at that, both in medium and longer term. So what the government could offer best is to offer generous incentives. You know, Uganda is a landlocked country. You don't provide generous incentives, the investors stop elsewhere in Kenya, Tanzania. So all of these were, and the longer term, the opportunity cost analysis was done, benefit cost analysis was done. So I think that the issue about the implementation, okay, the life cycle of these projects, and the implementation means that for some investors, the car have come as what briefcase investors. Some have gotten out by irrigating land. But you see the stick recently by Uganda Investment Authority, they are trying to make sure that we have actual investors who can utilize this land and the generous infrastructure and the services like electricity. You saw it happening. Because it can happen depending on how somebody has come in. But I think that there is now accountability. People must account. You are an investor 10 years, you have not said anything. So that issue is about implementation, not necessarily the government politics. No, it's about implementation, and that comes to the Minister of Finance provides that this happens.
Okay. We have about enough time for about two questions, and my other question, in line to the above, is around whereas you've explained that this is not necessarily a situation of monopoly, but some of my question may probably lead to that. For example, if many people have been trying to understand with such a deal that this company is going to enjoy, what exactly is government trying to cure? Is it, especially when it comes to coffee trade in Uganda, that hasn't been addressed by other, and that can give comfort to Ugandans that probably this is in good interest? Because I think you've had some of the voices coming out to say, okay, why not apply the same to other sectors, probably like milk and dairy production. Why coffee? So help someone out there who still has misgivings that this is good enough. This is what actually is being addressed by, for example, targeting coffee, the second export earner in the country.
Yeah, thank you. What we should know is that the best case scenario for Uganda would be to have all this coffee roasted underground and sold as roasted coffee. Because the price I told you from 1 kilo can be $20, $10.50.
Yes.
That would be the best case scenario.
Okay. Okay. I think I've lost Doctor again due to connection, but I trust you'll be able to join again. Okay. As Doctor. Okay, Doctor is back.
I'm on.
Yeah, you're back.
So the issue that the best case scenario would be to actually roast coffee and export it as roasted coffee. But internationally, the coffee market, especially roasting, blending, is a monopoly cartel of the trade houses. You can't penetrate that market, and it's done out there, New York and London and Europe. That's why you hear that even Germany is one of the exporters of coffee. Why are they getting the coffee from? Those are the fundamentals that cannot change by any pressure because they're already there. In producing countries, unless you have domestic market, like say Brazil produces 48 million bags, but they consume 50%. Actually, they're projecting to consume a month 70 or 48 million bags. The same case like Ethiopia. But Uganda, our consumption is about 5%, 4%, of 7 million bags. So now where it is now, the max comparative advantage you have for now before we get that level of manufacturing and roasting the coffee is export maximization of volumes, which Uganda has addressed by supporting planting program, moving from 2 million bags in 2001. Now we have 7 projections at 12 million bags, where you can easily get like 3 trillion above all that. So for the medium term, the comparative advantage you have is, and the export business for exporters and majority are foreign based. We have about 27 exporters, but 70% is in the hands of the foreign based exporters who are agencies with trade houses. So their role is to maximize volumes because they maximize profits by blending. Now, here comes we want to roast coffee underground. First will be domestic market. Now, if the domestic market is narrow and the regional market actual consumption is also narrow, apart from South Africa, which can consume up to 29% of total African coffee, the rest they have to export. Okay? And some coffees which got specialty markets may not be around 20% or that. So the bulk of the coffee in Africa is exported as processed, as green bean. Now, very addition started longer time ago, initially Tanzania, they have what? Africa, what? We ask ourselves why this has not grown. When you see the volumes of these coffees from Kenya, it's a pin, although the coffee is not so. Come here. Now, unless my confidence is that if this investor has got already their market niches, that this coffee, roasted coffee from Uganda, will go as branded Uganda coffee to where it is going, then it will be very good for Uganda. But the issue now, the dynamics of this manufacture ground roasting coffee here, it didn't start today. There was an attempt by Tata that's when I was in UCDA. In the 2002, they came with a lot of ambitions and expectations, all that. But along the way, they shied away because of the fundamentals. Where will this coffee be exported? If the domestic market is narrow, regional market is narrow. So it may come the same thinking, but that is how the coffee dynamics, the coffee industry works globally. It's not only Uganda, no. We are producing countries, Colombia, which is about over 20 million bags, Vietnam. So all of those are the dynamics that Uganda is part of that, what you call that confusion. That's a dynamic, and they have to be part of that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ezra. It's top of the hour. We should ideally be coming to the end of today's episode of Acfim Talks. So I'll just borrow an extra 1 minute to allow Doctor to have his parting shots as we come to the close of today's discussion.
Well, to me, I'm proud to have been part of the transformation of this coffee industry. 18 years we are not, but I was behind the cookie. There was problems in the coffee sector right away. 2000, coffee root disease. We organized a team. We started the planting program. I'm happy that now the coffee industry can be talking about 7 million bags production, projected 12 million bags. And I still, of course, in my research, I always take coffee as one of the commodities I should pay attention to in terms of policy analysis. On top of the coffee, then have tea and the cocoa industry. Those are commodities I have attached interest to the policy analysis. From the wider issues, things I do, but that's my focus when I'm trying to provide policy advice to government.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Dr. Ezra Munyambonera, who is a coffee policy and environment consultant. He has worked with Uganda Coffee Development Authority for 18 years as coffee industry socio-economist. He also worked with Economic Policy Research Center as a senior research fellow, and is currently a senior lecturer of economics at Kabale Public University and an independent economic development consultant. It's been good to have you to give more light on this discussion. And my name is Felix. Kafuma was moderating today's show, Acfim Talks. We were discussing the politics of coffee trade in Uganda. Who are the winners, who are the losers. We were supposed to have Dr. Abid Bwanika. We somehow failed to get him on call, but we promise we shall have another edition when we have Dr. Abid Bwanika to throw his perspectives. Again, Thank you so much for being part of this conversation, and I wish you a very good weekend. Enjoy your Easter break, and bye-bye. See you next week. God bless.